Great shot. Let's not create problems that aren't there. Whether you're male or female, go back to chapter 1, forget about your gender, and develop a great shot. Shay, when did you fall in love with this game?
So basically I fell in love with the game probably 7th or 8th grade when I just started getting good at it, started liking the feeling of carrying a team and hitting the big shots and taking the big shots, and all that goes with basketball. I loved it, the team aspect of it too. It was just great.
Well, if you could go back to when you were that age, would you train any different? Would you do anything different?
I don't like to think that way, but I was pretty lucky to grow up in Europe where they teach a lot of basics before they ever move on to how to use your athleticism and all that you automatically do here. And I was just really good with footwork and things like that I'm really lucky to have had a coach that really took time to teach me that stuff. So in that aspect, but I didn't shoot a 3 till my first year in college. I would have probably changed that because the first 2 years were shooting under 30, which is pretty bad for a guard. And last summer I really focused on just shooting my threes, and for the season I shot just under 50%, which is pretty good difference for not having ever shot a three-point shot. But that's pretty much the biggest thing I would change.
Well, if you're shooting over 40%, you got the green light from me from the three-point line.
Yeah.
You know. That's interesting that you really didn't have an emphasis on shooting behind that line until you got into college. I mean, there are literally kids that are 12 years old that are chucking it from just to be able to say they've hit one from behind the line, and I think it really messes up their shot development.
Oh yeah, I agree. When we have Maryland camps, I know when I see girls shoot threes, sometimes I'm like, don't shoot threes until you get your form down, until you get some strength, and you're able to keep your form as well as step back and use your legs. And that, I mean, I don't encourage it at all. And me, I was always strong enough. I just never needed to shoot threes and just went by people. And it's like a monster kind of thing where you're pretty good and you don't need to, but you don't work on it because you think you're not going to need it. And the next level, you need it.
So you think if you went back, you'd probably start shooting them a little more in high school or something like that?
Yeah, I'd shoot more threes, more game-like threes in high school for sure.
Game-like threes. That's good to hear that. Game shots, game speeds, and game spots, huh?
Always.
Let's go back over that again, because I want the young players to hear you say it and say it in a different way maybe. How would you start building a player up? If they were 10, 12 years old and you're going to start them, what would you do?
I'd work on 2 things. First, footwork, whether it's how you come off a screen, how using your pivot foot, things like that, and form. I mean, simple form, because wherever you shoot, your form should be the exact same thing. The only thing that changes is how you use your legs and how much momentum your legs give you. That's the only difference I have in my shot. So the form is the same everywhere, so it doesn't really matter if you're shooting a 3 or not. You need to have that form down, like you can sleep and you're doing it in your sleep. So those 2 things, footwork and my shot, just you don't even have to be far from the basket at all. I mean, just in your range, and just get that down.
What would you do next? You got footwork, you got your shot form. What now?
Once you really got that down, you can start doing off the dribble stuff. A lot, you know, in the next level, it's hard to get your shot off just by shooting. So I do a lot of off the screen things, curling, fading, things like that. That, you know, you need to. It becomes more of a read the defense, because once you can shoot, once you can shoot off the dribble, off the catch, all that stuff, it becomes reading the defense and understanding the game. Which the more you play, the better you get at that. So it's hard to simulate things like that.
Sure it is. After you've played great defense, and after you've worked the ball on offense and set the defense up, it still boils down to one person putting the rock in the hole. Somebody's got to take that big shot.